Good morning, Bitcoins, and welcome back to the World Crypto Network. We are live. It's 12:20 on the West Coast, and it's been a while since we've been on the air, so I just thought we'd go over some of the recent news. The price of Bitcoin is $235 as the decline continues. Many see a bottom, but no one really knows where it is. Roger Ver is fighting with Okcoin over Bitcoin.com. Apparently, contracts are taken differently in China. Zappo, which is moving to Switzerland, is adding Visa and Citibank executives to their board of advisors. Sounds nice. Kinda snowy. A chap, I don't know what a chap is, but a chap mines Bitcoin with punch cards and an ancient mainframe. Very cool story from the Register. Bitcoin might be the next big thing in the remittance market, or Bitcoin is the next big thing in the remittance market. You don't have to put those words in. Bitcoin is the big thing in the remittance market. It's now. Nathaniel Popper's Digital Gold, a new book from Nathaniel Popper, is being loaded all over social media. Everyone loves it. It's the Bitcoin book. Windows and OS X are malware, claims Richard Stallman. Way to go, Stallman, continuing the fight, no matter what it takes. Resist gratification, says the super GNU man freedom fighter. And finally, tonight in San Francisco, we've got the Bitcoin meetup with a Lightning.network presentation tonight at 7 o'clock. We're also joined by Chris Ellis in England. How's it going, Chris?
Hello, it's good to be back.
We've also got Theo in Germany.
Hello, everyone in internet world.
We're joined by Shem in England. How's it going, Shem?
Hey, baby, how's it going? Great to see you again.
Oh my God, guys!
That's not Russell Brand.
He's not
Hey,
Russell
who
Brand.
is it?
I'm a human being. Opposable thumbs, people.
And joined by Sia, also in Germany. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm in room 77, which is in Berlin, and they claim to be one of the first businesses accepting Bitcoin, so they're pretty old. And a few days ago, I think it was on the 22nd of May, where the first Bitcoin transaction was made, they were selling a pizza for the price of 1 Bitcoin, but they didn't sell any pizzas on that day.
Well,
Just
who's gonna
trivia.
Who's gonna buy a pizza for a whole Bitcoin?
Well, someone did once. It's supposedly the first transaction, right?
No, it was 10,000 Bitcoins, wasn't it?
Was it? I don't know. I
Yeah,
think
it was 10,000.
People are using Bitcoin over there. People are starting to use it to buy small things, obviously, Senia.
Yeah. Sorry?
Ksenia.
Senia, sorry.
It's alright, never mind.
Say people are buying things with, like a pizza with Bitcoin and stuff like that. So you're in Germany. People are using Bitcoin to buy things, like small things.
They have, I think in Hamburg, they have this Bitcoin Boulevard where all the Bitcoin business is supposed to be located. But yeah.
Technical difficulties. Can't tell what else is happening.
Anyway, I'm going to mute myself and let other people talk.
So, yeah, I was in Berlin recently as well, and actually you can spend your Bitcoins there. There are a few places. It's a bit like London. If you find the right patch, there's a whole bunch of Bitcoin places. And I much prefer it to using fiat because I don't have to convert anything. It's really easy. I also use the Coffee Fold app recently, or is it Fold Coffee app? That's the way of saying it, which lets you send Bitcoins to a website, and then it gives you 20% off Starbucks. Anything in Starbucks. So it basically gives you a Starbucks voucher right there and then. And I thought, because the reason I didn't do it sooner is because I assumed you had to register and give over your email and all this stuff, but it turns out that that's actually optional. So I actually really enjoyed the experience. It was super easy. It was almost too good to be true because somebody I was with was using it. And I was like, it can't be that easy. And she's like, no, it really is. I just send Bitcoins to this, like, address, and then suddenly ping, you've got $5, and it's actually 20% off of Starbucks. So now I might as well just, not that I go to Starbucks that often, but now if I do, I might as well use it. So I was pretty impressed with that. Another thought I was having recently, I wanted to talk about a few things because I realized we've been off air for a while. So I actually called this, and I know Shem was wanting it as well, was because I wanted to get the band back together, because obviously some of us went off and got jobs. I did the Pro Tip crowdfund, which I'm going to do an update on later on if we get time. But really, I just wanted to see what everyone was up to, and to hear about, you know, what it's like to be one of us kind of guys that aren't 9-to-5ers. We don't do the sort of regular thing. I know, Shem, you've got a job, but you're also a musician in your spare time. I wanted to talk about it because I think there are lots of other people out there that also probably could do with some advice from people like us. So, you know, what do you do if you're like a digital nomad? You're one of these people, you've got lots of ideas, but you're not the sort of person that wants to kind of sell out to a boss and listen to somebody else's voice all the time.
I think if you guys mind me saying, I think creative people, programmers, coders, anyone in the world, everyone has something to offer, and part of life is discovering who you are, where you are, and what you're good at. And I think also as people get older and whatnot, I think it's really important for people to believe in their dream, and I don't mean unrealistic dreams, astronaut, you know, something like that, but I mean really having you know, doing. You got to start today. You know, if you're a painter, get painting. That's my take on it. You guys know I'm straight down the line when it comes to that kind of attitude, because I live it myself. You know, all of our artists, musicians, Gerald Delara, Reese Lewis, all the guys, you know, live that philosophy.
I had a thought on that. Sorry about the noise. I had a thought of that. I had a discussion today about, and yesterday, because there was this conference on decentralization here in Berlin, about the. Now I will be a bit of a party pooper, and because there is a lot of rhetoric about in sort of Bitcoin community about banking the unbanked. And so I had this discussion with a guy saying, well, the whole thing about banking the unbanked is sort of solving the wrong problem, because it's about earning. You can offer people bank accounts or Bitcoin wallets or what have you, but what is the way of actually earning it? Because what's the point of having a bank account where there is no money in it, or a Bitcoin wallet without any Bitcoin in it?
Yeah,
so
that's a really good question, and I think what answers it is, I remember when I first got my blockchain account for all those hackers out there, and on it said, what's it when you sign up and whatnot? It says, you know, buy Bitcoins or earn them. And I thought, yeah, that's cool, man. I can understand that. Guy sells a painting, guy does something, person does something, they get paid direct, you know, and or they buy Bitcoin, you know, through an established provider. I think what you said that's really important is banking the unbanked, and I think that's one of the promises that we all aspire to.
I was saying the other way around.
In its take-up.
Banking the unbanked is not a problem. The problem is, how do you make the bank ones to earn?
Well, just giving someone a bank account doesn't make them included in a financial economy, because
it's probably makes them poor because it's an empty bank account. So so I think this at the time where everyone could mine, and just with, I don't know, some very simple hardware, it made sense. Now one of the promises that the blockchain offers is whether you can sharing your CPU or sharing the storage, and then be remunerated for that. And because I mean, unless you're a programmer or let's say a designer or Room 77 in a big city, it's very difficult to actually make money. Well, or trading. If it's just it becomes with like difficult to actually earn it in an easy way, unless you're a part of a club. And now it's all a question of being either a club of traders or a club of tech people or some sort of creative people on the margins of it. So, but maybe the next step is actually not only a programmer or a designer can earn Bitcoin, but maybe some other creative industries or what have you can also think about how to earn this currency, and whether it's easier than earning fiat.
Well,
I think we might start to see this with Pro Tip, and I hate to plug our own project here as we do often, but if you think about it, when I put a Bitcoin address on my videos, I was just kind of hoping that people would tip me. and I know they're going to have to copy and paste that address, and it's a kind of a big pain. And the same thing if you put a Bitcoin address on your blog, you're just kind of hoping that you're going to get tipped. But with something like ProTip, where it's built into your browser, and you just go browsing around, you read some articles, watch some videos, listen to some music, and you accidentally leave behind these little tips, I think that's how people could start to get not enough Bitcoin to live on, but enough Bitcoin to experiment with. I mean, I think what you're really saying here is you just need a couple bucks to try it out, and then you can, and then if you want to transition to banking this way or trying it despite the volatility, it's available. I really think it's a pro tip.
I
can
think
help people get their Bitcoins.
Yeah.
Chris, you've got something on your screen. What do you have to say?
Well, this is the ProTip app right now, which I'm just about to send some coins to, and at the moment it's private shareware, which means that we gave it away to all the people that were supporting us very well on the crowdfund a couple of months ago. We actually delivered a day early than we said we were going to do. There's still some more I'd like to do before I release it to the general public. If you know someone that funded us, you can get a copy of it. Also, you just give me a shout out on Twitter, I'll send you over a copy. But shareware might take you back to the early days of the internet, back in the 90s, where you were encouraged just to take the software, and if you appreciated it, you simply gave it to a friend. This is all about connection, about giving people permission to relate to one another. It's not really the money we want, it's each other that we really want. The money's just the excuse. The money's just the bit where we express our scarcity and our sacrifices to one another. So yeah, here it is. Leo's done a great job on it. It basically comes along here. You can see this. It takes in all the Bitcoin addresses. It works out how much time you spent on them and then rates them accordingly. If you really, really like something like this, oh, you can see cheeky me. I've been downloading off of Pirate Bay. Never mind, I don't give a fuck. But I really like that ebook by Joseph Campbell. I can then subscribe to that person that uploaded it and give a donation to Pirate Bay. Because I think they're cool people and we should connect more. Like, I'm already subscribing to XKCD.
Yeah,
let's
no,
give
of
a plug.
course, if Joseph Campbell had a bit
unconventional.
you're going to tip him directly. But he didn't, so you have to tip Pirate Bay.
I was going to say, why don't we give Pirate Bay a plug, because they've been getting hammered quite recently, haven't they?
Yeah, sorry, I got a bit, there was like too many people talking. I was like, yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, actually it was because of that whole news article that I was like, oh yeah, what's Pirate Bay doing? And I tried looking at their website and it had been taken down. And then I was like, so obviously I spent some time on there and I found this old Joseph Campbell book, and I'm really into Joseph Campbell, so I thought I'd have a little read of it. And it's like, well, you couldn't get it on the Kindle anyway. It wasn't even available. I looked there first, obviously, because I'm a law-abiding, person. But then I was like, oh, you can't even get that book. And I didn't want to wait for like some old dusty ex-library copy to show up in the post. I wanted to read it now, because like, I want things now. And I've been really enjoying it, and this is what it's about. And I haven't deprived anybody of that book. It's not like I took something off of you and now you can't have it.
You just took a copy.
Yeah.
You just took a copy.
This is like the internet allowed.
You didn't pay for it.
Well,
Remember though,
I paid the provider, which was Pirate Bay. That's going to go
Yeah,
out.
but guys, we're not in a discussion about what we think about downloading, because we all know, everyone, that we believe in free information, and everyone, as long as people ain't, ripping someone off to make profit, there's nothing wrong. Got great respect for inventors.
Yeah, but it would be okay if it was direct.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the whole idea. I think I'm still thinking about what Ksenia was saying about the unbanked, and I'm really looking forward to when Africa and some of these other places where, just in Berlin we see this ecosystem of businesses using it, that we see that emergent ecosystem, but in a desert somewhere where it truly is gridlocked, and they're going to be using mobiles or whatever to do it. And I think we're
did anyone this weird thing that you put over your SIM card so you can use feature phones as wallets?
Yeah, it's called BitSim.
Yeah, I haven't really looked into it and whether it has some potential and what it's good for. I just seen it this morning, to tell the truth.
Yeah, I don't know the technicals about it, but I think it's interesting. But I think what you were saying about the unbanked or whatever, this kind of catchphrase that's really popular, I think it's A use, of course, if you just give someone a address, it doesn't mean they're included, like I think Chris said. But what it does allow is it would allow you to do direct payments internationally or worldwide without having to use a third party. So if I'm a coffee farmer, or if I have sugarcane, or I don't know what, and I can sell it to someone in Europe directly, easily, without having to use a bank as the intermediary. So that is something that is useful, where people could earn possibly more money. Of course, they'd have to have somewhere where they could use the Bitcoin where they live, otherwise it doesn't make any sense for them to accept it. But that is something that has potential. Or, I mean, if they're sitting in an internet cafe on 14.4 modems and they put a Bitcoin address on their blog, then someone could tip them theoretically. But I mean, that's a way that people can be included, because maybe before they wouldn't be able to take payment directly because they'd have to go through this big institution or bank, or there's regulations, and they can't take payment directly for the goods that they're selling.
And this is the problem, is that the banks in the old days only had to budget for about 4 bank accounts per person on average in the world, because they didn't anticipate that nowadays we'd have like a bank account for every single citizen in the world, plus every idea of that citizen, because different projects and different companies need different bank accounts and demarcating them. It's not just the technical capabilities of these banks that are going to be lacking, it's the overheads they're going to have to pay. Every bank account needs so many staff to support that bank account when something goes wrong. It needs regulating. They need to be keeping an eye on all these bank accounts, because remember, they are being deputized by the feds, who they are legally obliged to report back to if they think anything dodgy is going on. So it's not just that for that reason that we need these people to be banked. It's because, well, if you're not banked, you're not included. These banks can't take it. They kind of know that. That's why a lot of banking people are moving into Bitcoin. You get all these press releases like ex-Visa guy says this about Bitcoin and joins the advisory board of some Bitcoin company, or why Super Nintendo Lawski recently resigned after having written the regulations for New York, only to then go on and become a crypto consultant. Well, of course, because he wrote the rules. This is a massive rebranding exercise on the part of the financial industry, who now needs to shake up their CVs because they know they're no longer relevant. I mean,
yeah, but this is amazing, isn't it, Chris? Because last year, imagine if we was having this very conversation talking about all those names that you mentioned, all those people that are getting in on it. That now, oh God, it's coming to our shores now. We've got to better engage with it. And
well,
see if we can monetize it.
I think the problem is basically I disagree with Chris about the banks having huge overheads, because it doesn't matter. It still makes sense to bank someone and put them in debt. For instance, in a social innovation scene or whatever, do good and do money at the same time. There is this speak which was around for a few years of microloans, for instance. And there are loads of people who are just not very intelligent. They actually think that it's a solution to poverty, which is kind of scary, because it actually increases debt, and you just put more people in debt. And the whole idea of actually banking the unbanked for banks, and actually having overheads of all this administrative cost of banking, still makes sense, because you put people in debt.
Well, of course, and the bankers want those fees. In California, they recently converted the unemployment insurance over to Bank of America. So instead of getting unemployment checks, you get a little Bank of America card, and you go anywhere you want, you spend that, right? But when you overspend, out on your luck, Bank of America charges you fees. Thanks to the state.
That's a good point that Ksenia made. A really good point about you can't go into debt without a bank account. And that's a really good point. Of course you can, but not to the right people, not to the people.
Yeah, but this is a wonderful thing about Bitcoin as well, is that as opposed to it's the promise of money, the promise of payment, you've actually got something. And that's what's different, even though it's a virtual item. And I think the whole equation with the unbanked is that this decentralized form of money in smart contracts, at the potential of the blockchain, is going to enable us to have new systems of organization between ourselves. And I think when the Visa CEO founder said the other day on Twitter about Bitcoin's going to be the biggest revolution ever for finance, but also he said governance, and I think that's what he meant by the systems of governance, voting, you know, and we very recently in the UK, guys, you know, me, Chris, we've had the election, haven't we, Chris? You know, so you know, and the Conservatives are one, and I didn't even realise until someone said, you know, and I voted myself. I didn't realise that they did it by proportional representation. No, they didn't do it by proportional representation. So I can't wait till there be voting via blockchain. So I think that the very system, the very nature of blockchain technologies is that they are inclusive, that they do enable people to that have nothing to have something. You know, and it's the promise of something, isn't it? That's what it is. It's the undisputed. It's a way of truth. The blockchain is a system of truth. It's the way of saying, you know, Chris has got a carrot, you know, or at this time, you know, whatever, you know, it could be anything, programmable carrot.
Yeah, but I can make my own dictatorship blockchain if I want.
Yeah, I know, but this is what's the free thing about, and the free nature of decentralized technologies is that you could, Theo, and many people have, but it's all about where people go with their feet. So it really is an inclusive technology, because all the people that are in Bitcoin because they've gone to Bitcoin, you know, by its very nature. You know, so where we are in the moment in the so-called industry, as you guys rightly saying, is really exciting, is where we are at the moment. All these businesses coming into it, lots of people losing money. Who's making money at the moment, guys? Anyone name any businesses that are doing really good at the moment in the blockchain?
Well, in the Bitcoin. What?
Yeah,
Bitcoin
let's
is
talk about some
obviously
businesses.
You're not even really
Right.
looking at it right. Startups don't have to make money. You just have to make.
Well, this is where the truth taste test is going to be, isn't it, guys?
Yeah, the problem is, I think now that people who make the most money out of the Bitcoin is people producing hardware for mining. And
Yes.
yeah,
That's a good point. The middlemen.
Yeah.
Maybe
It's almost like the guitar shop owner. You know, there's millions of guitarists out there wanting to learn guitar,
Well, look,
and the guitar shop owner loves it.
All right. So, guys, I just want to point out that we also have Q&A, bottom left-hand corner of this screen. And I want a big shout out to Eric Rosso, who's been saying it's good to see us back. So he's thanking us there. Good to see you. Let me pull that up, actually. So if you click on that link, you'll open up a new window. You'll still be able to see the video, but you'll also see the question and answers down the right-hand side. So I don't want us to dominate the discussion.
All right, so let's answer one of Eric's questions here. It says, the way I see things going, we, as in the people who can't afford lawyers, are being relegated to being like waiters in Hollywood. All the good ideas, none of the reward, because the media moguls are the only ones who afford access. And when I think of this, I think of like a library. Like, think of the future. Everything's very strictly controlled. The only way you can have thoughts or dreams or imagination is to check them out from Hollywood. So you can check out the Kirk character, you can check out the Spock character. You can have an adventure together in virtual reality. It's 3D and it's new and it's computer generated, but you don't own those characters. You have to give them back, and maybe they'll even have a way they could clear them out of your mind, so you could only vaguely remember Kirk or vaguely remember Spock. So you want to keep coming back and buying more sequels, the same character.
Maybe we just shouldn't do any more shows because we're just giving ideas away. You know.
What we have to think about is, will they be creating virtual reality characters of us to continue on these shows afterwards? Because that's already happening, you know.
What about
they're going to do a new John Wayne movie.
Virtual reality recreation. Virtual reality recreation.
Everyone freeze
in 200 years' time.
This is
this conversation. So, yeah.
This is relevant. So Joseph Campbell actually talks about this in his book, where he says that we are the myths now. We are writing the myths of tomorrow. People are going to look back at the stories that we're weaving. The internet is a giant simultaneous appreciation of all the different ways of it means to be human, right? All of these different people. It's about diversity. It's a protocol, a stable, solid structure that gives rise to human diversity and difference.
And I'll tell you, kids, it's going to be the basis of the next global organizational system of mankind. In fact, I see it as the very precursor, the internet. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Right. So next, I want to go on to segue into the pro tip, because I wanted to kind of show that being topped up and stuff. Because Eric says, with regard to pro tip, how long before such demands for coin are required in order to consume someone else's content? And the way we're doing it at the moment is we're just testing it out with a bunch of people. We're not trying to push it down people's throats. We're not touting PR. We actually want to see if the product can sustain itself. And what we plan to do is to give content producers the ability to negotiate with the people that come to their website with this sort of button. They can put some code onto their website which basically says, if you really like my content, you like all the free stuff I put up, I've also got some premium stuff, and if you pay in some Bitcoin, you can get access to it. And it doesn't require a third-party host. If they run WordPress, they can self-host it. So the idea is that they put a bit of code in, and then they write two versions of the video or the blog entry. They put one which is public, and they write another one which is private. And all the app does is basically, it's so clever, like the way Leo's doing it, it's basically a URL shortener. So all it's going to do is it's going to create a secret URL, and they're going to have a bit of the article up at the top, and then when you pay more, it sends you to the hidden URL, and then you get the full article. So it's basically, we're not even calling it a paywall. That's the traditional term for it. It's called a paywall, but we're just calling them content passes, because that's really what it is. It's just a pass. It just gives you permission to view the content, and this now gives the content makers and people like you and me that can't necessarily afford to get, these hugely expensive credit card payment processors, the ability to turn around to anyone on the internet and say, hey, look, I worked really hard on this. If you like it, why don't you decide to pay it? It's not like the URLs we're making a secret and require like password login. Once you've got it, you can still share it. And I don't think artists most of the time want to lock their content down. They just want to be appreciated. They just want a little bit of money as a token to say, I enjoyed this. So let me just go over to the thing now, and I can show you how it works. Live demo. This definitely isn't going to break. So I'm going to go to my other Bitcoin app. I'm just going to send some money over.
What do you mean a little bit of money?
Oh, there it is.
You want a lot of money.
Okay, so there it is. Okay, so I sent a little bit of money over in Bitcoin there, and then basically, let's see if I can get this working. So I've got $1 in there at the moment. So when you use it, you can either say to the software, remind me in so many days to make this payment, or you can just do it automatically. So if I just leave it like this, it will automatically pay it tomorrow. But we can try it like this. I'm going to hit donate now, hit send, and then hopefully that's going to go through. And whilst we're waiting for that to go through, we've also got services like Peppercorn and Streamium. I don't know if you guys saw those recently, which are also like micropayments. It's not quite the same thing. It's not like an app, but they're basically allowing you to be able to host your content and stuff.
Yeah, I wanted to add to it actually, because we always during the campaign we were mentioning artists mainly, and I have to be transparent about the fact that I actually don't consume art in this way, right? And I very rarely even read sort of blogs and philosophy, but what I was thinking is really an interesting and content that everyone needs and consumes quite a lot is reviews, especially software reviews and app reviews and stuff like that, because I think this kind of stuff I would actually pay for if I go on App Store or I need very specific software for some particular reason. There are reviews, and it's extremely difficult to see whether someone was paid by a company or whether it's someone who just did it because he's an enthusiast. So seeing that someone is tipped for it and being able to tip for an app review will give it a bit more legitimacy in a sense. If I don't know if you're following what I'm saying, it's like a bit like buying an app on an app store which is really cheap, but I still kind of use it. Sort of having an access to a good review of a simple thing and tipping for it, I will definitely go for it. But so I sort of found maybe a kind of content which is a need, because some philosophical stuff I would read online and support it, well, it's one-off, because usually the time is quite scarce, and some content which is entertaining, and there is content which saves us time, such as a good review or a game review, an app review, or something like that. So I think, yeah.
Well, this is called, in business, it's called MLOT, money left on the table. So the problem is, at the moment, I go to a website, I get a huge amount out of it, it saves me a whole bunch of time, but there's no option for me to give anything back. And if there was something on that website where I didn't even have to think about it, I didn't even have to do anything, it just automatically paid, that would also make me feel a lot better. It would give that person some passive income or some money to come in that can basically be a way of saying thank you, or it could help them finance the future blog posts and so on. Like, we're not thinking about all the money that just gets left on the table, all of that like lost opportunity that you could be having on the internet right now.
And creative content creators out there are screaming for a way and looking for new ways to get paid. You know, this is a way of getting money. You know, we've got it, I've got it, you know, and we've given, what you give, you get back. It's not a system of giving. It's a system of, it's like a network. It's an inclusive network. You know, what I've found is often when you're a content creator, you know, obviously a musician art, you know, I'm creating content, and I've obviously got my social marketing, YouTube, Facebook, and all those kind of things. And obviously, you know, we want a presence in the blockchain, and we've received numerous donations. And thank you for all the supporters, because that went into our website, that went into SoundCloud, that went into uTorrent, you know, so that we could get the guys on that. So yeah, never stop giving. And this is the whole thing, Chris. You're right. You know, you say about I always say it from a musician art perspective, but what I mean is anyone creating, and this inclusivity of the internet and of the Bitcoin ecosystem and the feel good vibe of it. You know, the sunny days are just coming. You know, I mean, we've just come out of the storm of winter. Winter's just ended for the Bitcoin. You know. And we've got the summer coming up. Spring's happened. We had a quick spring. You know, loads of people have still got to lose money though. Winter's coming. You know, I won't lie. But only the strongest survive. All those CEOs, CIOs, and this is why. This is why, you know, so many big names have turned to it now, because they see its potential. And I can't wait. I really hope we use it. That when IBM used it with that new system they've got, Adept, a system of exchanging files through a decentralized network. It uses blockchain technology.
Sorry, did you say Adept?
Yeah.
Adept, the IBM thing.
So IBM have developed a system
they
called...
They haven't developed, they forked Ethereum, aren't they?
Well, they used Ethereum, they used Telehash, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
So they did use a component. But then again, we can't blame them for doing that, because this is what we want. We want people using the blockchain, making new innovative solutions and making the world a beautiful, better place. You know, that's the dream of technology. That's what's happening at the moment. And the transformation of technology, you know, this whole blockchain, we've only just begun on it. You know, all the big names are looking at it. They're seeing where it's going. You know, we've got more money in the system. You know, we're doing better than the Rupor's last time I heard. So, you know, forget about $1,200, everyone, because that was a fake inflated rate. That was the early days of the ecosystem, the small island. You know, we've got bots hanging around, you know, Big Willie or whatever it's called. We're looking at the true gradual take-up of Bitcoin and the related development of next generation blockchain-based technologies. We're in year 1, maybe 2. You know, so
yeah. Someone mentioned to me today a weird thing. Remember when this guy bought a lot of Bitcoin, which the Fed sold on auctioned out?
Yep.
And I had a discussion about it today. Is like, and I mean, it's a very popular and banal thought about some sort of currency. If you stop thinking of it in relation to fiat, for instance, it doesn't really matter if it loses
tangibility
value.
altogether. You know, like I said, it could be a carrot, it could be a monetary contract, anything that uses the underlying simplicity of the blockchain, a database essentially.
And what is interesting, I think, with when Bitcoin goes down in price, it incentivizes people to actually look for other applications of having it. and actually not taking it out, which is interesting. So it's
Mm.
almost the system can balance itself out. If it goes down, then people think, well, maybe I shouldn't exchange it into fiat and keep it in the system, right? So it's sort of it creates some sort of room for evolution of value.
We're seeing the evolution of the baker bread shop, if you imagine. You know, everyone blockchains the bread shop. Everyone from the village goes to the blockchain. You know, when it's cheap, it's easy. They walk in, but if it makes bad bread, they all go. They all leave. You know.
Well, that's it. And Eric is also saying that startups don't need to make money; they just need to make the next funding round. And at the moment, we don't have an honest capital system because these companies are just in the business of propping up illusions. They're just in the business of raising money. The same with the banking industry. There was a famous banker, I forget who said it, who said that you're really in the business of entertainment when you're doing finance because you're about propping up the presence of an illusion that everything's going to be okay. You can keep going to the ATM. It's not a lottery. It's not like it's going to close one day. And the question is, how long? I think for the public, nobody wants to be the first one to queue up at the ATM to get all their money out. No one wants to be that guy because if you are, you give rise to the next one and the next one and the next one, and then things really do come crashing down. So look.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't want to be the last as well.
Right. Well, that's true enough.
We'll see the turn. You know, you're absolutely right. You know, dude, I'm only joining in with you. I mean, this venture capital round. You know, of all these, there will come a time where they'll have to produce product because the funders will go, "Where's my cash? Where's my money gone?" And you know, that's what we see where they'd be falling off to the wayside, and it would be what would be known as the Bitcoin bubble. It would, you know, that would be our next storm in a way, when there'd be a lot of people who, you know, I started to see that happen at the very beginning of when mining become unproductive, you know, and it's a lot of people are real at the edge now, you know.
You mean like when do the funds go away and how many
and when
of
does
these
the real
startups are
goods
going to fall?
emerge? When do the real services emerge? When do the next Twitters, the next Facebooks, the next voting apps, the next, you know, we're looking at 5-10 from my perspective. What do you guys think, ladies?
5-10 what?
Years.
Well, a year in crypto is 1 month.
Right. Very good point. Very good point.
Excellent, yeah.
It's kind of like dog years. It's like dog years. I mean, think about it. This is just 2015. Think about all this stuff. It's now nearly 6 months down. It feels like an eternity, all the stuff that happened just since January.
Yeah, man.
I mean, come on. We had like 160, the price. We had all this stuff. We had another, one or two auctions already. I mean, this is just like nonstop.
It's a fast-paced ecosystem. Yeah. It's a real fast-paced ecosystem, and
it's like hyperspeed.
This is.
It all goes down. This is what it is. Everything is Star Trek. You got this is the communicator. You got the smartphone, and now we've got the Bitcoin is kind of like the currency, you know. And we're talking right now on these big screens like we're in spaceships, you know, communicating with each other, right? And, you know, we've got like weird stuff behind us, and we just need like technicians, like, you know, okay, tell me what's going on this planet or whatever. And, you know, we've got that too. We've just used the internet. You know, we say, okay, what's going on this planet? We just look it up really quick, so we don't even need a Spock or whoever is the information officer. We've just got that with our Google. So basically, you know, we've got everything just like Star Trek almost. We're basically there.
In fact, you know, some would say, you know, and I'm an advocate for this philosophy as well, and I think we all share the common sense of it, that some would say that it's only worthwhile, like, you know, getting off the planet and moving into a sustainable, globalized, unified humanity. But obviously that's just my idea. So anyway, Theo, onto the hats. You were talking about hats earlier.
Hats. Well, I don't know if I want to be unified with everyone. I'm quite fine, you know, not being. But if you want to be unified,
no, I mean unified. When you like to, you know, like Star Wars. Dun, 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 dun,
oh yeah, the cantina.
You know, they're like, so you know, everyone's together, man. You know, whatever they be, whatever planet they're from.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know what planet I would be on, but anyway. Chris, what were you saying? You know, we're moving in hyperspeed, and I have a feeling, since we're talking about sci-fi, there's a disturbance in the force.
Oh,
So
man.
we've got a lot
White
of
elephant in the room got
disturbances.
landed. Go with it, Theo.
We've got a lot of disturbances, and there could be a dark entity trying to manufacture some interest in Bitcoin. So what if the same entity hacked Bitfinex, hacked Bitcoin Talk, and generated FUD around Okcoin and drama with Roger Ver all on the same weekend, just to get things going?
Wow. Who could that be?
Man, that's almost
Who
as good
could
as that.
be?
That's almost as
I don't
good
know.
as like.
Could be Fontus, maybe.
Man.
Fontus?
It was me.
Do you reckon he's
It was
back?
me.
So Tom is
I am
openly
Tyler
admitting that
Durden.
he's- So let's talk about Fontus for a second, guys, because we should get to the news rather than indulging ourselves too much. And this is a classic pump and dumper. He was back in the day at BTC-E. This was a couple of years ago. He used to come on and basically play the markets. He used to come on and draw pictures on the charts with what's known as wash trading. Wash trading is when you basically put in buys and sell orders on both sides of the book. You're essentially buying and selling your own orders to create the illusion on the candlestick charts, one of these things here, of real volume, of real buying and selling going on. And he was the master of this. It looks like he has a background in trading, got quite a number of years of experience. There are lots of noobs and newbies surrounding the space in crypto. It's quite easy to fool people. You can just come in, you can buy up your own orders, like we have this recent rally here from Litecoin, which was speculated to be because of Fontus is coming back into the limelight and coming back into the public arena again. And then, of course, what you create is something known as a narcissistic rally. A narcissistic rally is when the price goes up simply because the price is going up. So all he does is he maybe gets it to here, right? And then maybe he helps it a little bit more, and then people go, oh no, it really is going up, it really is going up.
Yeah, it's called FOMO.
For fear of missing out. The FOMO. In fact, there's even like a primordial chant that you traders have, right?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, sometimes people start saying FOMO, yeah.
No, but I've heard it. It's like the Wolf of Wall Street. Like, boo, 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 boo. Is that right?
No, someone was doing that before, yeah.
No, I've heard it more than once on TeamSpeak. I'm pretty sure it's like a ritual, kind of religious process that traders go through, where when they see
there was always someone that would come on, and they had like the FOMO song, go FOMO, go FOMO, go.
But it's a real thing, and I have been hanging
there's
out.
different. There are different chants people have. You could call it kind of like a weird, kind of chant. I mean, it could be people hoping the price go up. Could be people faking each other out. It's everything. But FOMO is real and it's strong.
Yeah, it's a game, ladies and gentlemen. And if you enter the game, you play by the rules, and the rules can change.
Yeah, but this is, I think the problem with Fontas is, look, he's created a nice big rally back in Litecoin again. It's shot up, but the problem is that this is about fear and greed, two very negative emotions in the human condition. You have the bulls and the bears. The way all these exchanges are marketed, it's all about the bulls that want the price to go up and the bears that want the price to go down. But really, it's about fear and greed. And what you're doing is you're turning fear and greed into an object of attention. You're getting everyone to focus on it. And
giving it energy.
Yeah, giving it energy, giving it time and focus. And I've said, I've been hanging out on the Whale Club, TeamSpeak channel, whaleclub.co. I like hanging out there. There's some really interesting people. It's just like the old days of the BTC troll box, but without so much of the trolling. Partly because you don't just type chat, you also voice speak as well. So it's a bit higher barrier to entry. And I kind of like it, but my point has always been that everybody should have access to these types of financial tools so that it's not just the money changers, it's not just the speculators. Nothing wrong with speculating per se, but when you make the whole currency right now, I think, and turn it into where the only people that really hold it are the people that are speculating on it and the people that are wishing for it to do one thing or the other, what you end up creating is so much volatility that the regular member of the public who wants the opposite of that doesn't really want to get involved because they see it and they go, yeah, but my local currency feels more stable. But why does the local currency feel more stable? Well, first of all, it's not global. It's not subject to so many time zones. Second of all, there's way more liquidity. The foreign exchange market is $5 trillion a day. It's a massive market. So you've got more buyers and sellers coming in both sides. And so I think one of the things we need to do is increase the diversity of people that hold Bitcoin, so that you don't just have interests like Fontus who are just able to paint pictures on a chart. I think that it's...
Definitely.
But the price being kind of flat lately is also due to traders. So it's not just traders that make it volatile. And what people need to do is they just need to do something. Let's talk more rock.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people, it's the whole holding
Let's talk
coin.
more rock.
Yeah, baby. Well, it's holding coins, spending coins, isn't it? You're going to sit here, you know, whether there's holding loads or holding small. Gotta use those coins, baby.
Tell us, Theo. Tell us how traders keep the price stable. Then, how?
Tell us how they cheat, Theo.
Okay, what's happened is, with the introduction of higher leverage of 10x and 20x, then people are happier with, you know, $1, $2, and $3 movements as opposed to 2013 $50 movements. So, you know, basically in general, you know, margin trading and leverage trading like that, you know, goes both ways. It doesn't just go in one direction. So that helps to, you know, stabilize it a little bit in some ways. And, you know, without the traders, there would be no liquidity. I mean, who else is going to use this? Dark markets are using it for utility, and traders are using it for utility of trading. And who else is really using it? Not a whole lot. I mean, there are merchants using it, but the main liquidity pools are, I'm assuming, the ones I just said. I don't have any numbers. You see what I mean? So, you know, of course, it needs to expand. But
leverage. I see what you're saying. So your leverage trading is when you're borrowing money and you're trading, but you're trading as if you were trading, like here you have 20-1. So for every Bitcoin, it's actually 20 Bitcoins. So for every Bitcoin you deposit on the exchange, you can trade with 20 Bitcoins. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. And well, 20x is just futures, and it's not actually margin trading, but let's just explain it as you explained it without getting too deep into crazy things. But yeah, basically that's it. You're borrowing you know, coins or fiat to use to go long or short, and then you're paying it back. And actually it is centralized, and for example at Bitfinex it's centralized, but their whole peer-to-peer lending that they have for the swaps. So the swaps is you borrowing the coin or the fiat to go long or short, is actually a pretty interesting little invention that they, or a little you know, feat that they pulled off there doing that. And so you can't naked short or a lot of things that people criticize. I mean, everything is so if I can't just like leave. Some people might say, oh well, how they're new to margin trading, they think, oh well, they're just going to borrow the coin and they're going to go away and never give it back. Oh, it doesn't work like that. You can't withdraw the way the software of the exchanges. You can't withdraw a coin that is part of your margin trading until you've paid off what you borrowed. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, and that's why when they have their own token substrate, they can make their own rules. They could create special Bitcoins that can't be withdrawn from their system. So yeah, I like to see that.
Yeah. Well,
sure. Yeah.
You can get around that with multi-signature eventually. But what I like about what Theo is explaining, and I have sort of tried a little bit on Bitfinex and stuff, and I quite like it. I can see how there could be a mass market for this kind of technology, because as what Theo is basically saying is that, just to simplify it a little bit, back in the early days of Bitcoin, people needed, well, speculators needed large moves of like $10, $20 at a time to make their return on investment. But because of margin trading, they can deposit less in the exchange and get more bang for buck. Now, the way that's done is that they basically have to borrow money off of lenders on the exchange, and the exchange acts as guarantor because it stops them from withdrawing the money unless they have so much on deposit. Now, what they do is they say, well, look, we'll lend you this much, but if the price goes too far against you, we're going to do something called a margin call, which is where we're just going to take all the money away from you because we don't think you can pay this debt. That way they know that the lender on the platform, who's earning interest all the while, gets their money back, and the exchange doesn't have any liability because they've closed the person out of their position.
Right. So what would be good is if so you are in control of your risk, and it would be fine if the banks also operated like that. The only thing is when the banks get margin called, then there's a socialized loss, and guess who pays?
Right, exactly. So we could see a future. So what we're saying now is that these speculators don't need these big volatilities. They're happy with, a couple of dollars move each way or something like this. And that means that the price doesn't have to slosh around so much. And actually, I would like to see a mass market for this kind of technology where an app automatically looks at your risk profile and has maybe some janitors who oversee the whole process. And then they just basically are in the game of caretaking your financial future. If you drive to work, why not short oil futures so that, if the price of oil goes up, you're not affected at the pump. If you really love coffee and you want to hedge yourself against an increase in price in coffee, then why not go long on coffee at the same time as buying it? All of these kinds of different strategies that you can employ.
So you can do that now on Veritasium, which is Reggie Milton's project. You can go long or short on, I don't know, like 3,000 tickers or something, and there's coffee futures and grain
and traditionally,
too. So you could do what you said. I mean, I'm trying to do some examples right now, like the coffee thing. Like, okay, if I drink so basically, it sounds like, bank exotic products that make no sense and just are used to trick you. But just imagine that if you're a coffee farmer, so what you want is insurance that if the price goes down that you don't get destroyed. So what you want to do is you want to go short on coffee. So that just means if the price goes down, then your short position, you'll gain from the price going down. And if I'm a coffee drinker, well, if the price goes down, I'm already benefiting. So I can go long on coffee, and if the price goes up, well, then I'm going to benefit from the price going up. So in essence, I'm paying the same for the coffee. So we're both hedged at an advantageous situation. So you could theoretically organize that with tools. And what they've done is they've used the Bitcoin blockchain. It's like a real simple smart contract that's on the Bitcoin blockchain that all they're doing is providing the data feed. So basically like the Oracle. And everything is on the blockchain and Bitcoin based.
Yeah, so this comes from Osaka, Japan originally, where the origin of the forward contract. And the reason it worked in Osaka, Japan so well all those years ago, it's just like 1700s or so, is because everybody waked up to one another in the morning. So if a farmer wasn't sure whether or not to take a risk on growing his crop this season because of the weather and so on, then what he could do is turn around to his community. A speculator could come along and say, well, look, I understand the nature of your business and the risks involved. How about I share that risk with you by buying off your grains of rice in 30 days at an agreed price today. That way you know that you can go ahead and do that. And it's really about the way we share risk. The reason why these kinds of, today the futures exchanges don't work so well is because scaling markets is a dangerous thing. Markets are a very powerful idea. And when you start expanding it into a global system where people don't have to wake up to each other every day, like on BTCE or like on Bitfinex, people can do whatever they want, and they feel as though they're doing it anonymously, and they can just walk away. Which is why a lot of these pump and dumps and a lot of we've seen, there's been speculation about collusion between the exchanges. There's been speculation about margin calling and these exchanges playing both sides of the book so they can deliberately try to get money off of some of their traders who are particularly short in a position, so they push the price up just as an excuse to kind of margin call the guy, this kind of thing, which I don't think is very healthy. But once you've got something like Reggie Middleton's system, where it's accountable, it's on the blockchain, there's a smart contract involved, everyone's in charge of their own funds. I mean, is this something we can look forward to, do you think?
Oh yeah,
absolutely. The way the world's going in the future is decentralized, more information. We are going to see whole new revolutionary ways of smart contracts being utilized, from banking to transportation to economics, insurance. The applications of blockchain can absolutely be used for a range of different sectors. It's already been investigated and researched as we speak. The question is how long that process will take, and also the consumer facing side. So devices that keep passwords, that transfer bitcoins, that help the very system of the blockchain technology. What do you reckon, Theo? Baby.
Oh, I agree. I'm actually at the same time in the infamous Whale Club TeamSpeak, and I'm getting feedback, so they're also watching. And someone wanted me to plug their one.
Hey,
broker.
Whale boys, we plug your style. If anyone's gonna do it, it's gonna be me, boy.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
man. Whale Club, man, send in love.
They want me to plug their one broker affiliate link, but I can't do that really.
No,
Can't
that
do
would go against that.
I'm not going to do that. It's kind of funny,
Hashtag /234.
Yeah, right. I'm going to do that, live on air. But it's a funny idea.
Very clever, boys.
It's a nice idea. So yeah, one broker. You can also go long and short on some commodities, and it's a centralized exchange like the others. I think that's good for traders, but I do think there's a big potential in what Reggie's doing, and maybe other people are developing too, for uses for like I said, like farmers or a shop, or I don't know what, to kind of and what you're doing is you're just taking the middleman out, like we said with the bank earlier. Before you needed, if I wanted to, I could do this now, what I just described. I just go to the bank and say, hey, I want to go long or short on my coffee contracts because I'm a coffee grower. And I could do it. It would just cost a lot. It would be a lot of fees, and the spread would be horrible, etc. So with this, you're taking the person out, and you can do it directly. And speculators can get in it too. I mean, the order goes into this open thing, so it's just free to whoever wants to take the other side of the risk. But there has to be an entity that takes the other side of the risk. So anyway, I guess that's the trader talk for today.
Trader talk, baby, coming at you.
Well, I can take us away from trader talk for a second here. I just got a really thoughtful tweet from Feed the Baby. Feed the Baby writes, "When I see your San Francisco pics, I almost feel like you're searching for that one view that makes it all make sense."
Oh man, if I would have got a tweet like that, that would have made my day or something. Someone's looking at your shit, dude, and they're loving it.
So so Thomas, maybe you can explain to us what this execution picture was all about.
That was actually, I went to a
ladies and gentlemen.
I went to a coin-op of coin-operated things like video games, but really it was more older than video games, so it was like these little dioramas that moved around.
Uh-huh. Whoa.
Uh-oh. NSA.
NSA alert. NSA, guys. They're on us. Switching to Channel 5.
They've frozen him. He's going to have to reload there.
Yeah,
the
man.
Klingons have froze him in Star Trek world, so we've got to fire back. We've got to get this thing going.
This is a perfect chance to have a short commercial break on a political broadcast from our leading critical think tank.
Whoa, are you freezing up too, Shrem?
Man, am I freezing?
No.
Everyone's
So I just
freezing.
wanted to also... No? Is everyone freezing? No, I just wanted to give a big shout out to... I just want to finish giving this quick shout out to Francesco, who's a friend of mine who's a hacker who makes these really cool 3D printed bitcoins. And the other day he was showing me, we got together to work on the ProTip site, and he was just showing me these things. They're really, really cool.
Wow.
You basically have a little app where you scan in the physical bitcoin to deposit the funds, and then it gives the app that gives the actual coin a new address each time. So this is like really cool. It's like a physical object that you can hold. You can actually spend the coins by just touching it on the app. It deposits the coins, sweeps them, pays it on whatever you want to pay them for, and then puts a new address back onto the coin again. So it actually is, you know, a genuine
And this
use
was
case.
one of
But
the
anyway,
things that I was talking about. So people making stuff that's cool, just like this, that make using Bitcoin easier, that's going to help proliferate the system. You know, we've got people in Belgium are doing it, or Germany, wherever at the moment, to buy a coffee or beer. Wait till these things gets out, kids.
Yeah. Also, I want to give a
Anyway.
shout out to CryptoSteel.com, and they're making some really cool cold wallets out of pure steel. And when they're finished with their crowdfunding, the CNC plans are going to be open source, so you can also, use a CNC machine. And I think they were saying potentially you could also do a 3D printed version of the crypto steel, so a plastic steel version of crypto steel. You have to just check out cryptosteel.com. It's a pretty cool little project. I really like this 3D printed coins. I'm going to have to check those out.
Yeah, cool. Well, let's go back to Tom anyway. You're back.
Maybe.
I'm back. I'm still here. I don't know. I was just trying to. I like that comment the guy said, trying to understand San Francisco, trying to find the right picture that says it all. I have the Matrix screensaver on all my computers now, so it's on my laptop, it's on my desktop. And whenever it goes to screensaver, I really am reminded of Morpheus in the Matrix when he was looking for, or Neo when he was looking for Morpheus, and he was like just searching, and just that search for what really matters.
Yeah, man,
That's real.
absolutely, dude. What a philosophical comment, and he's absolutely right, because this is the thing where, you know, the subculture of psychedelics in the 60s, 70s, it didn't die down. It re-emerged as the subculture of compute and IT cybernetics. It's the digital culture. You know, it's a global culture. Sorry, man. Was I talking over someone?
No, you're just saying psychedelics, man. We're cool.
No, psychedelics to cybernetics, which was a term coined by Tim.
Psychedelics to cybernetics.
Yeah, it's a term coined by Timothy Leary when he was talking about social cultural change brought about through technology. People can share information, they can share a reality, an opinion, you know, like light speed now. You know, it's not like, you know, back in the day, man. We've got information overload, baby, and it's coming to wash away their goddamn system. And it's the new Star Trek system, baby.
It's an expansion of our memory and our capacity to recall the past. And in the old days,
telematically and synesthetically,
That's
because
right.
as we bolt on more of these you know, human computer interfaces, be it holographics, virtual reality, proprioception, where your body is, you know, all these kind of different things, we're going to be able to transport ourselves into the virtual reality, into the game. I love modern games, guys. I'm a massive gamer. I won't lie. I love things like Crysis. I love the engines that create detailed three-dimensional environments. And you know, the reason I love modding them is because, like, when I buy an Oculus Rift, I'm going to be like playing Doom 3. You know what I mean? Running it through like max graphics on a VR headset. But just I do that, you know, the beauty of and the principle of virtual reality and the sharing any reality, sharing any space and place is, imagine, you know, we were all in the room broadcasting, but there's so many notions about how that will affect social culture. You know, virtual reality people will be able to meet in completely new ways. You know what I mean? You know, you can change your body, you can change your shape. You know, you can fly, you can be anywhere you want, any place, any time. You know, and you know, with the headset, I think the technology is headsets. I think a combination of technologies, so maybe suit it up. It's not like the 80s. Everyone thought those big chunky headsets were going to happen. I got to admit, I believed that was going to happen. I was a kid of the 80s, man, you know. But dude, it's not going to work like that. It's taken a lot of technology. You know, we've got the Arduinos, we've got the Raspberry Pis, we've got the small ARM RAM processors. So we've only just managed to have the tech now to do this kind of wearable prosthetic and start getting the kind of prosthesis of human computer interfaces less didactic and passive. You know, I want to fucking stand in it, I want to sit in it, I want to smell it, I want to taste it, man. You know, and if not, then I'm not. I don't
pretty
like their
freaky,
VR.
man.
What are we talking about?
I don't like their VR.
Virtual reality, sign me up, man. Sign me
Okay.
up.
I'm going to sit in it. I'm going to smell it.
Done
Well,
It's
already.
coming to a screen near you, baby, man. I'm telling you, it's the way it will happen within 10,
I
20.
think that that's going to make real more valuable, or at least I hope
Yes,
so.
yes.
You know, because
Yeah.
I kind, you know what I see a Shrem. You might
Go on,
agree
bro.
or not. I kind of this is what I see the parallel to you know, the music median. So
Mhm.
how MP3s just made everything go into
Mhm.
hyperspeed,
Mhm.
and we've talked about it before. And now when you've got a CD, a tape, or a record, it's like, wow, I've got this thing. It's the real deal, you know, and that has a certain value as opposed to the quote virtual version, the MP3 one. I mean, they sound similar, but you know, I think that if everyone is on goggles the whole time in virtual reality world, freaking out, then when you actually talk to a real person, it's like, wow,
What
I've
about
met
virtual
of
reality and
him in
drugs, man?
real.
How
What about virtual reality and drugs?
Yeah, what about that? That would be interesting, wouldn't it? DMT and holographics and things like that. I think that would be amazing. I think
Don't
the
do
ver-
drugs, kids. Don't do drugs. This is
yeah,
not recommended.
absolutely. We
And
don't
the
condone.
computer could control the dosage as
No,
well. So the
well,
computer could do
3D printed
dosages
drugs.
throughout the day.
They're talking about 3D printed drugs, aren't they? Where you can, the simple. That's the future. But obviously, everyone, we don't condone just flippant, rampant drug abuse. Hedonistic. We are intellectual, civilized people here at this show, and we
Yeah, right.
believe
That's
in
Well, but it's
exactly
the
it.
responsibility
just
of one's life.
Everybody drinks wine just for the taste here. You know?
it's out of the spot. Look at the little vaporizers. Right now they have vaporizers for tobacco and marijuana. Just
Mm,
you wait. They're gonna figure out they can put anything in those little vaporizers.
mm, mm, mm.
I froze again, huh?
I mean, do you need drugs if you're on that like virtual
Virtual
reality
reality.
super
Maybe
thing?
not. Maybe not. Maybe you can get your sex. You can get your drugs. But what kind of people will we be breeding? It's
I don't know. I
like
think that so I might I'm pretty
nation of dead people where they die after playing World of Warcraft, man. For
right,
48
yeah.
hours.
Right, you meet someone and they have a black eye and you say, "What happened?" "Well, I was in this really intense fight in World of Warcraft and I hit the wall cuz I was, you know,
Yeah.
standing up in my
Fine.
thing." Now, I think that I mean, I'm not against any of this stuff, but I also think that you know, let's not lose our brain power. You know,
Yeah, let's not lose
we've
our
got
path, man. Let's use
we've got
technology in unison
no, I'm not
and not
joking.
let technology mess up society and ourselves, man. This is
Yeah, but just
exactly what we need to
just
be
think
doing.
of the last time you left your phone at home
Yeah.
and you just met someone, or you were like, "Hey, I'm gonna meet you in 1 hour on this street corner, okay?"
I'm gonna pay you some
And
money.
you managed to do it without having a smartphone with you. Isn't
That's
that
impossible.
amazing?
How impossible.
Yeah. And
not
then
for, not for
somehow,
Captain Prostitute.
no, but seriously,
The
you
only
know,
reason he managed to meet her is because she was already there on the corner. It wasn't GPS.
Yeah,
He
it
was
was
set.
fucking superstition.
right, but you know, we've somehow, you know, with our intuition, I hope that that kind of technology doesn't dull our intuition, and I fear that it does a little bit. So you have to watch it that it doesn't necessarily do that.
I fear it removes our humanity. When people
I don't have any
staring at.
scientific proof, but I think that
Oh well, yeah, but you can see loads of dorks looking at their screens all day, and the proof's in the pudding, Theo.
you mean the smartphones?
Yeah, man, and stuck on Facebook waiting for the next 10 likes. I mean,
Right, right.
someone needs to go up to them and just smack them. Get them out of the trance. It's all right. You're back with us.
Guys,
You're in
guys,
the
guys.
room.
Right, let's move on to the news because we had all these news stories at the top of the show. We should at least cover one of them. I don't want it to be like, right. Let's talk. I want to talk about Roger Ver. What was this all about? Tom, pull it up if you've got it. I can also pull it up if you're there. Okay. So, Theo, apparently you've got proof. I hear you've got proof that.
Oh yeah, I do, but you're gonna have to screen share that because sometimes mine goes nuts. But I've got proof, ladies and gentlemen, and I would really appreciate the $1 million bounty. So you know, I've got the proof
Whoa.
that Roger Ver signed the contract. Proof is in the pudding.
Here it is. Here it is.
It's also in the internet. So here we go, live on air. Here we go.
It. That looks like
is the contract, and this is pretty much sums up the story.
All of your coins belong to us.
Yeah, that's a
bad deal. I wouldn't sign that. Bad deal.
Nah.
It looks legit though. I mean, it looks like it's got Okcoin's signature, and it says here our verse.
Well, what usually the last line right there is in the footnotes, and it's in lawyer speak.
Right.
But basically, that kind of sums it up. So basically, yeah, Roger Ver owns the domain Bitcoin.com. He said, "Okay, I'll lease it to you guys.
Okay.
You pay me $10,000 a month, at least. And if you make more, I think I want a cut of it or something like that. And yeah, I want to be paid monthly. Thanks very much." And came around pay time, and they didn't pay. It's like, okay, what's up, and whatever. And okay, yeah. Oh, well, pay me in Bitcoin then, and I'll just, put it on my Okcoin account, and I'll send it out myself. Oh, no, we can't do that. That doesn't accounting. Oh, well, Ripple and Ripple got in trouble with the SEC because they kind of did something involving you, and we don't want to get Ripple wrecked or whatever, so we're kind of shady on that, so we don't want to do that either, and it kind of goes back and forth, and it also is, and I think they were saying, oh, we're not really earning a lot with the domain, even in some of the emails going back and forth, and that's why it was an important part of the proof contract where Coinbase affiliate links actually work, because they had links to Coinbase, but it really wasn't using affiliate link, and they were like, well, why aren't we making any money? So it's kind of funny. And there were also other times where they couldn't get the domain to work with www, and they were like, and Roger was like, guys, you're not making any money because it doesn't work when you type in www. You might want to check that out.
That's really bad.
yeah. So there was a lot of really crazy things in the emails that are I mean, this is, supposedly, this is in that one of those drop boxes. So, but the emails that were going back and forth are really hilarious about the whole thing. Like, yeah, I might want to fix the referral link there, because then that's how you earn with such a site. So anyway, and then so this all came out, and then I think Okcoin said, if anyone can disprove what Roger Ver said, we'll give him $20,000, which I'm not really sure how that makes sense, but that's what happened. And then Roger Ver said,
hold out for the million.
Yeah. If you can prove that I signed the contract they say I signed, then I'll give you $1 million. And so I did it. I proved it. So I want the $1 million. So I've proved it. There it is. There's the proof. So send it on over. And
I mean, this is pretty hilarious.
Drama. Yeah. So the problem is that in my eyes, and a lot of other people have said, is that there's two things going on here. There's the contract, but there's also the language that Roger used and some of the things he said about basically alluding to Okcoin being insolvent. And that is kind of, let's say, ironic or weird, considering the whole history with Mt. Gox. So, Thomas, what were you telling me earlier? What's the relation between the audit of Mt. Gox and
Well, remember that Roger Ver famously audited Mt. Gox and told us that everything was going to be fine. So in that way, I think a lot of people are seeing this OK announcement as a sign that everything will be fine with Okcoin, because Roger Ver says it's no good.
Yeah, so that's, given that history, it's kind of suspect or a little weird and ironic that people are supposed to believe that they don't have the money. Now, whether the contract, if they're not following the contract or not, well, that's a totally different discussion, in my opinion. It could be very well they're not, but that's one issue, and the other issue is, accusations about the business of Okcoin on the business side, and if they're an okay business and how they're running things.
It's a pretty big stretch for Roger to say they didn't pay me my $10,000 a month, so they must be insolvent. They could just be deciding not to pay him.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get.
That's a bit
They
of
did
a
say in some
stretch.
of the emails, at least the ones in the Dropbox, whether they're real or not goes to be proven. I haven't proven it. Is that the whole Ripple thing played into it too recently, like, or at least it was used as an excuse, if you want to believe that. Hey, Ripple got in trouble. They did business with you or something like that. The connection. We don't want anything to do with that, so we're afraid to wire you money. Basically, was the gist of it. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to say if that's okay or not. I don't know. I didn't read the contract as a lawyer. But that is the gist of it. So now we've got all kinds of drama in the Bitcoin space. We got Roger Ver against Okcoin, Okcoin against Roger Ver, Bitcoin Talk hacked, Bitfinex hacked, Bitcoin's back. What do you think, Chris?
Well, I'm just going back through some of the videos where Roger Ver was saying, like, yeah, it's all legit, it's all cool, about MC Gox. That was bringing back some memories. I was also going through these alleged signed documents, which actually is a little bit confusing in here. This is one of the cryptographic signatures. I'm not sure that I can actually do anything with this with the software that I've got, because I don't know that this is in PGP. Oh, it says it's PGP down here, GPG tools. So I should be able to do it, but I'm not sure where the header is. Normally there's like a header of the document, but I don't see it. But anyway, I've been reading through the assessment that the engineer said he did, this IT guy, and he's saying that on the 15th of December last year that Roger exports a PDF document. This is the document 1 with his signature. He signs it with his digital signature on the 15th. That's the same day. Then the 16th, it looks like the chap at Okcoin. He creates it and then he sends the signed signature back. But he's also saying that documents 4 and 5 contain no cryptographic signatures or other evidence of discussion of the agreement between the parties. They do not seem to fit into the timeline of events. Moreover, the timestamp of Roger's handwritten signature in document 3 is identical to the one in document 1. So either he signed both of them within 1 second, or one of them is a forgery. So that does ostensibly seem to look a little bit dodgy to me.
It does. It really does. 1 second. Well, you can sign really fast by hand. Wow.
Yeah. So I will have to check those for myself to see whether or not it's legit. But this is the advantage of using this really cool software, because it's. Let me just get my screen back. Because actually a lot of these tools are all open source, and so in theory anyone can like publish a contract or just keep it secret for now, sign it with that PGP key. Would have been better if you timestamped it in the blockchain, because none of these look like they've been timestamped. But timestamp it and then you can later on refer back to the contract and say, look, is this what people agreed? Now what's key here, like with my World Citizenship ID project that I've been doing at the moment, and here's the bag right here. What's key is that you have a public witnessing, like a wedding. There's a reason why weddings are held in public. It's so that if you marry more than one person, there are witnesses there, and they can testify to it later. In fact, the affidavit, which is the sworn testimony in the UK, is the most powerful piece of legal evidence that you can have. Somebody just getting up on the stand in a courtroom and saying, I swear on oath and this is what happened, is the most powerful piece of evidence you can have. We often think of it as DNA and so on, but remember that DNA can be disputed by experts, and then we've got to trust those experts and sort of believe whether or not all these technicalities. Lawyers can use clever wording, whereas at least with a person you can always go back to the person and keep holding them accountable. So the affidavit is still very important, and when you get together and you sign these contracts, if you don't make them public, no one's going to care about your timestamps, right? Because anyone could just write that thing. It doesn't really matter. Or you could say, for example, if you're making predictions and you say, well, I predict that Chelsea will beat Arsenal by 2-0. Well, you could have done 100 predictions with lots of different, combinations of final scores, and then just only revealed the timestamp that was the right one. You see, so timestamping doesn't necessarily mean anything. It has to form as part of a chain of events. Those chain of events needed to have, preferably had more than one person present when you were doing them. And so that later on you can point to it, and then people start to go, what are these timestamps? People that don't know about it, and they start to look at it and they start to see, okay, so there's a way that I can prove that something was said at a particular time, and I can get a whole bunch of people to come around. I can sign it with a PGP key, and just because you sign it with a PGP key, I mean, look, these guys are using signatures. It's perfectly okay to use traditional forms. I mean, the more information, the more evidence that you put in, the better. And you're not doing it because you don't trust people. You're doing it because it's just common sense. You're doing it because you both want to enter into an agreement that is structured and ordered and doesn't give anyone any room. It's basically just there to take a little bit of a load off your mind. And so I think it's great that he's doing this bounty and it's cryptographically secure, but I would like to see this process of verifying them a little bit easier to use.
Absolutely, and really well put there, Chris. That's fantastic. And
All
guys,
in good time. Give it time and it'll get there. Just we need more businesses to use this, more people to use it. We're very early at this. That's why everything seems so out of sorts.
We need the support now. We need people to get in touch now. They want to help out.
Should we take some questions and then wind it up?
Yeah, let's do that.
So we've got of course, one comment: don't do drugs, kids. Send your stash to World Crypto Network for disposal.
we will dispense with the responsibility.
I like that. So let's see. I like this one. Let's see. Eric says, Eric Rosso commented a lot. I don't want a bank. I want to be able to afford to live. I could care less about having a bank account. Okay, that's...
No, it's true. It's true. What he's saying there, a lot of people feel that. They just want to get on with their lives, and Bitcoin allows that. And, we've got so many of these stupid systems that we waste our time thinking about. Day-to-day, got irrelevance to our real day-to-day living goings on.
Right.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on what you consider a bank. He also reminds me altcoins are back. So I also want to remind everyone now you can do margin trading on altcoins.
Oh my God, margin trading on altcoins.
So now you're going to go to the moon and to the core faster than ever before. We are truly moving in hyperspeed. Yeah, it's something like that, how you just said. So yeah.
I like what he said about he doesn't need a bank, he doesn't want a bank, he just wants his time. And I think that has a lot to do with what Chris is saying and what Chris says with Pro Tip. That basically, like, Shem wants to play guitar, play music, I want to make videos, Theo wants to do mashups and remixes. Maybe in the future things will be more like Star Trek where you don't have to do something to earn money. You can do what you think you're best.
Absolutely. That's the day. What he's talking about, ladies and gentlemen, is the golden age of humanity where everyone can partake in their life's dream, where we don't have to work a 9-to-5 job. I know it may seem hard. That's the kind of news we bring to you folks. That's the kind of information we bring. We're doing this, our reality smashing through the missionary position. Enjoy.
Okay. Wait, what's going? All right, let's go.
That's what we do to the brain. See, look,
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going back to the questions now.
Don't know who's on drugs tonight, but yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So I think a good another one to that's also Eric also brings up another interesting point. He says, I think Pro Tip is a great idea. If I didn't have to pay for access to the internet, I'm sure I would feel a great deal differently.
Bastard.
Just a minute. The way it is now, I just feel like we don't have much longer before a service is used as a paywall.
Well, no, you've got to pay to get on the net, mate.
Yeah, but I want to just say I just want to say that all the stuff that we think is free right now on the internet isn't free at all.
Right.
Because you pay with your data.
Yes.
And it's just being exactly. So, and that's where the real money is. The real money is in the data, not in the MP3s.
But it's also for it's also for a concentrated group of people. It's not, most people don't make the money out of the advertising. Also, every online action, every web page you see has a corresponding preceding offline activity, work that took place to make this into a website. And if you're not paying, then you're not really contributing. It's just a parasitical model, and that's not sustainable. Eventually that system dies, and that's why the internet has turned into a giant bait and switch. It's basically about getting you to sign up for something, think it's free at first, and then they get your email, and it's just, yeah, or install something or something like that. So it simply isn't sustainable in its current form, and I think that's why a lot of people are suffering. It's because it's taken away a lot of people's jobs. A lot of things have been automated. It's not so much, I'm not one of these people that goes, oh, what about our jobs? I'm just saying this happened very suddenly, and people weren't expecting it. They couldn't plan for it, and as a result, we need to now get together as a group of people and discuss how we want to go forward, because it isn't going to be the fucking governments that are going to save us. I mean, none of these nation states are equipped to deal with these fast-moving changes, because the only thing governments really do is maintain the status quo. It's up to people to work out what they want to do, and I think it would be better if the world formed itself around smaller, tight-knit communities where at least you can remember everyone's name instead of these big amorphous nation states, and actually have something that is manageable, that you can agree on together.
I think that would be the way of the future. Obviously, decentralization, you know, understanding and managing a population on its small level rather than, you know, caring about strawberries halfway across the world is the more logical and energy, you know, efficient way of using. And in terms of the Bitcoin blockchain, I don't know how that even relates to it.
Well, it's also, it's not going to make everything, nothing's going to, you're still going to have free stuff, because people will still want to give things because they don't want money. Remember that Pro Tip is a passive tipping application, so a lot of people will just be like, hey, look, pay me if you want to, or I'll just leave this up here. And the more work you produce, the more chance people have of seeing it later on, especially if it isn't time-based. I mean, some of the stuff we do on World Crypto Network is time-sensitive, so it probably won't get views, but then there are some videos that keep getting views because the stuff we were talking about was timeless, and all the Google bots find it, and then people comment on it, and then people come back to it. Our Bitcoin addresses are still on those videos, and I still get money coming into those old Bitcoin addresses. So the more of your portfolio goes on the internet, I think mostly people will keep stuff public, because as soon as they start charging, they'll notice the drop off in the prices, and so they'll go, well, maybe I'll make this public, maybe I'll make this public, and then there will be a little bit like the cream of your work, or particularly like with Nixie Pixel, for example, on Patreon. I subscribe to Nixie, and I get access to like sort of backstage stuff, right? So most of her work is free, but if you pay $5 or more per month, she lets you go into the chat room, you can talk to her personally, you can see extra videos, she lets you in on her life, you know, and what she's up to and stuff. And that's a velvet rope approach. That is selling up, and that's what good business and sales is all about. It's about getting people to enjoy the service and then upselling them. Is this right for you? Well, if it is, then pay for it. If it's not, that's okay. No offense. You know, you can go somewhere else if it's not really what you're looking for. And that's the kind of honest business that I'm looking for.
What really gets to me though is, you know, is the way that everyone's coming back, and there's this massive PR war. You know, what we think we know from all the makeup of the news and what really happens are two different things, and it's always trying to understand what's actually on the territory and the map. And I really feel that, you know, this technology is really going somewhere, and things like the Pro Tip is a really honest for real way of making Bitcoin applicable to people's usage. You know, we always look at content, and one of the problems is that most of the internet, it's like in Futuron when they get on the internet and they go, right, we're going to go into the internet, and they like put their VR headsets on, and as soon as they open the door, like all this advertising goes, you know, it comes towards them, and they have to run away from the advertising, and then they're like, oh my god, there's sex, you know, there's just sex everywhere, you know. And that's the problem, that the internet is still full of rubbish, you know, and there's still loads of rubbish content, you know, and there's still really crap tricks.
You're the
to
only one that
advertise.
can save us.
And
You
people
make
have
the
got
content. You have to make.
yeah,
content.
but my message, what
let's
I wanted to
talk
say
more
to
rock.
people, but what I want everyone to remember out there, and we're all advocates for it here at this table today, isn't it? What we always preach about is being intelligent with your information. You don't just go posting everything out, you know, apps venting data, you know, no security on it, you know, and these days he says broadcasting live from the front room. I just got the irony of that. However, ladies and gentlemen, this information is coming to you loud and clear. No, but that's the point, isn't it? Is that this information is chosen. We're here today in the right context, you know, whereas, you know, what do you reckon?
I reckon it's time to wrap up, guys, because because look, it's been a good show. We want to do more of these, and we need to know that you want to see more of these as well. It would be
help us out, guys.
Yeah, tell
help us out. That's what we do. Throw some questions. We want some guests coming on. We're really hungry. We're getting the team back together, innit, right, guys? And we're going to be doing a weekly, maybe 2 weekly show. We're not too sure at the moment. What do we reckon?
Yeah. Well, no, I want to go back to a weekly show. I just need to get my living situation a bit more stable because I'm not sure what I'm doing yet. And it's just about having the internet at the same time each week that I can do it. So if people don't mind, like actually probably what would be good is to get a schedule back up so that there's at least one show on each day or every other day of the week on World Crypto Network so that I can just jump on. And then we can just
got to do that piece about pawn shares, haven't we?
Right. Okay.
And if you at home want to do your own show, you can do your own show on World Crypto Network. Just write us on Twitter.
Whale Club. I want the Whale Club to do a show.
Yeah, we should actually.
This week on the Whale Club. Let's manipulate
there's a Whale Club Radio. It's a show that happens whenever it's supposed to happen, and now there's a weekly technical analysis show with Bonavest and different guests every week.
Yeah.
So maybe they would want to collaborate. I don't know. We can talk to them.
I want to do a show with the traders, particularly. I like BTC Vix. He's really cool.
Yeah, I've seen him around as well.
I want to do a show with him about responsible risk management and about like just like good risk management, like when you're trading. And not sort of FOMOing and all that, listening to people.
Well, how about we do a Bitcoin trading show?
Yes, yeah.
How about a Bitcoin trading show where we get the cream of the crop on, right? Or the dirtiest of the batch. Tell us all the secrets for you viewers out there on how you too can play the system to make some money and fund your lucrative porn star lifestyle. No, ladies and gentlemen. But I think that Bitcoin, I think a Bitcoin show where we talk about that, we talk about the technical analysis side, we look at how you can do a correct trade, some of the strategies, some of the terms, some of the industry, how these guys go about it, and some of their current feeling of the market information. I think it would be a really good show. So, guys, I hope, ladies and gentlemen, hope everyone had a wonderful show. And what's our final thought for the day, gentlemen?
I think you should have your say in the comments and tell us what you'd like to see. You can also follow us at World Crypto Net on Twitter and at worldcryptonetwork.com. So that's all from us for today. I want to sign off. I want to keep these shows like really tight and concise because otherwise we go on forever.
Tight and concise as we pass the 2 hour
That's my
mark.
final thought.
All right.
I saw the best minds of my generation destroyed by madness, starving, hysterical, naked, dragging themselves through the Negro streets at dawn looking for an angry fix. Angel-headed hipsters burning for the ancient heavenly connection to the starry dynamo and the machinery of the night.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I say goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.